Welcome to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. Join us on this journey into the unknown, down a dark path overgrown. Find spells and rituals, folklore and legends. Come, set your candles alight to clear your mind and unwind. Delve into the shadows to uncover a dark path.
All right, y'all, we're going to talk about Samhain.
Ready when you are, Kristen.
Ready? Okay.
We'll match your freak.
By the way, I was a cheerleader in 6th grade.
Somebody gonna match
No.
my freak.
5th grade.
You were a
Right.
cheerleader? I could see that.
Welcome back to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. I am Kristen Jackson, and my absolute favorite Halloween movie has to be The Halloween Tree.
I'm Allyson Hemma-Romane, owner of Jupiter's Omens, and my favorite Halloween movie is Hocus Pocus.
I am Heidi Stock, owner of Wise Wolfcraft. My favorite Halloween movie, probably Nightmare Before Christmas. Controversial choice, but true.
Today's episode is the first in our, I say Sabbat. Is that pronouncing it wrong? Sabbat?
Maybe we should have
Okay.
ironed that out first.
I know, right? We're releasing this episode a little bit before Samhain, so you have some time to iron out how you would like to celebrate.
Let's begin with a little poem to get us all in the mood. We begin our journey on the Celtic wheel of the year at the place we all begin and ending we've just endured. Thus we protect and celebrate those that are near. We make our offerings and honor those that came before. This pagan end of the harvest season by whatever name, this free fall into darkened days and the sleep of winter, a whisper-thinned veil of Samhain we celebrate today. So shall it be, or something better.
If you're like me and you were a solitary practitioner before you began, you may have only ever seen the word Samhain written. And it is not written how it sounds at all, in my opinion. It is spelt S-A-M, like Mary, H-A-I-N, like Nancy. It is pronounced Samhain. S-A-M is sow. H-A-I-N is in. That's because it is an ancient Celtic word, Gaelic.
Our ancestors have been using the natural rhythms of the earth to celebrate life. No one culture can lay claim to celebrating things like the moon, the sun, seasons, the harvest, solstice, or equinox. However, each culture does have their own traditions that make every festival unique. The Western Witchcraft Wheel of the Year is based off the teachings of Aleister Crowley and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It began with the 4 Celtic fire festivals, which include Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lughnasadh. In the 1970s, the remaining 4 Germanic-influenced solstice and equinox days were popularized, and these are under the names of Yule, Ostara, Litha, and Mabon.
Samhain is the first harvest moon in October and ends during the first week of November. The full moon in October, otherwise, into the first week of November. So that looks like in modern times, October 31st to about the 1st or 5th, or literally the midpoint between the middle of the autumnal equinox and Yule, which is the winter solstice. Samhain means November in Irish and Scottish Gaelic. Who celebrated it and historical significance? What we know of Samhain today is reconstructed Irish and Celtic practices that involve reverence of the dead, harvesting of plants, and harvesting of livestock. It is the first spoke in the wheel of the dark half of the modern wheel of the year, whereas Beltane is the first spoke on the light half of the year. It's the first of the original cross-quartered days.
What is a cross-quarter day?
They're the midway holidays, right? So like between
I see. That's the name of what they
solstices
call those.
and the equinox.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't familiar with that term.
As you said, Allison, it signifies the dark days, and then there's also the light. In Gaelic, Celtic religions, and others, bonfires were not just to keep you warm, they were also to help as a way of directing your ancestors back to you. Cattle were typically slaughtered in order to feed the collective. So the village would have these big slaughters where they would end up having food for the rest of the winter since you weren't going to be able to forage or do a lot of other things. And typically they were also used as offerings as well.
Cultural variations of Samhain we see are Winter Nights, All Hallows Eve, Pagan New Year, the Witches' New Year. In modern times, it's considered a thanksgiving to all deities. In modern Wicca, Hecate is revered, the dark goddess this time of year, as well as the aspect of the triple goddess, which is the crone. In Norse and Germanic culture, there's Winterfylleth, Alfarbolt, or Winter Nights, which is the beginning of winter devoted to ancestors. It's the last harvest and animal slaughter in order to prep for the colder months, thinning the herd, and then switching over to hunting that time of year. Feasting was private by family and led by the women of the household, and it was associated with the goddess Freya. In Welsh mythology, because I got that, it's Calan Gaeaf. The first day of winter in Wales is November 1st. The night before it is called Nos Calan Gaeaf. Traditionally, people avoided churchyards, stiles, and those are the like stone fences around farms, right? They would have like these two large stone columns. That's what a stile is. And crossroads, where like two roads or two pathways intersect, as spirits were known to gather in those places. Women and children would dance around a bonfire, write their names on rocks, and place them inside the fire. When the fire died down, they would all run home, or a black sow deity or a white lady entity would devour their souls. And then the next morning, the stones with names removed brought good luck to their owners. If your stone was missing, you would die within the year. The thing that they would sing as they were running back home after the bonfire ran out, and it translates to home, home at once, the tailless black sow shall snatch the last. Corn stalks were also twisted into a harvest mare, so they would kind of be like braided and kind of look a little bit like a besom.
Can you kind of describe what a besom is?
So a besom is basically a decorative broom.
I love these. I make one every season. So actually it's really funny as I say that I make these every season and I've done like 2 this year. But you hang them on your front door. A lot of times you can hang them anywhere. You use them for energetic sweeping. You can use them for like cleansing portals. But yeah, I like to go around and get like the seasonal stuff that's growing and make my besoms from those. Samhain, All Saints Day, and Dia de los Muertos are all in the same time frame and celebrate similar things, but are from totally different cultures and are not the same holiday.
So there's a reason for that, and it's that there's a meteor shower that takes place the first weekend in November, and
But
all
isn't it
cultures
wild
worshipped this
though that
meteor
but
shower.
everybody decided, oh, that means that the dead are here. That
Yeah,
means it's the time. And I'm like, why? Why? I love that kind of stuff.
it's when the Leonid meteor shower begins
Mhm. I think
everywhere.
that it's fucking incredible and I love it and it blows my mind. And then the other thought I had that I would contribute a little bit late, it should have gone up a little higher, I think. But this is, and I don't, and I'm like, I'm going to say this and you're going to be like, Heidi, we already said this. But it is the third of the harvest festivals.
We did not already
Wellness.
say it.
Okay, so the first harvest is Lunasa, the second is Mabon, and the third is Samhain.
Dia de los Muertos is a celebration October 31st or typically November 1st that it's celebrated. A lot of people will host a feast. They'll typically have a gathering of a live family as well as ancestors or deceased relatives. You could have anything from like an altar to where you put up incense, you can put up foods, you can put up, pictures of the family members, things like that. But then it also goes to the opposite extreme of literally bringing the physical body of a deceased relative to the family table. So, like, while you're eating dinner, basically you're chilling out with your past relatives. With Dia de los Muertos, there's a very common thing that's a little treat, a little candy, and they're sugar skulls. They are firm enough to hold the shape of the skull, but soft enough to crush and eat. Typically, they would be painted or have the name of a relative written across the forehead. Some of those you would put onto the ofrenda, or oftentimes you'll eat it, which will actually, it's kind of like taking a piece of your ancestor inside of you. And then for us, with a lot of our American traditions, we do Halloween, we do trick or treating. Trick or treating actually started with a tradition called going a souling, and soul, Soul. So what they would do is like the children would dress up. The costumes were typically meant to scare away harmful or bad spirits. So you dress up in these costumes, you'd go door to door, and you would offer, typically it was like wealthier families that you go to the doors to, and offer to pray for the souls of their dead relatives, ancestors, and that would be in exchange typically for what's called soul cake. And they were just little treats, little cakes that, you could eat and take home. Oftentimes, if they didn't have soul cakes, it would be a different kind of food or a gift. And then as, of course, time went on, we now have trick or treating and Halloween, and we go and get candy. As far as I'm remembering, the trick or treat was literally, do you want us to help you with these spirits, or do you want us to not, and then you're gonna have to deal with it type of a thing. So if we do this trick to like get the harmful spirits away or to help the familial spirits, then you get the treat that comes from it.
Let's move on to themes and symbolism of Samhain. Themes are typically surrounding honoring ancestors and the recently deceased, protecting yourself and your home, divination for answers to any big questions that you might have. Because it is a liminal time, it's a good time to kind of reach out beyond the veil and talk to your spirit homies. It's a good time for reflecting on your year, as it is the end of the pagan new year, and set your sights on the year ahead.
What are some things that we use today that were also like, what's the symbolism that originated behind it? So, jack-o'-lanterns, for example. So, jack-o'-lanterns are literally, in case people don't know, a hollowed out pumpkin, and then you carve a face or a picture or something cool into it, whatever. It can be fun. And then you take a candle and you put it inside the hollowed out pumpkin, and it lights it up from inside. So originally, these jack-o'-lanterns were made to ward off evil spirits and then to bring light to the dark. Since this is the time of going into longer nights, it was said to be keeping away the harmful or the quote unquote evil spirits, while also guiding the ancestors back home so that they actually know how to get back. Because, it's a little hard sometimes. They need a little guidance too.
Jack-o'-lanterns originally weren't pumpkins. They were turnips and potatoes. Pumpkins actually became popularized in America in the 1800s, right? Because we had pumpkins here in the States. So, and I said 1800s, I think I meant 1600s. I'm sorry about that. But either way, 200 give or take, it happened here in the States opposed to in Europe. I thought this was so funny. The legend of that jack-o'-lanterns were based around is the legend of Stingy Jack. Stingy. Stingy.
What?
I know. Okay, so
Sting?
yep, it's a guy who makes a deal with the devil and then becomes doomed to wander the earth with a lantern until Judgment Day, like the of Earth, not his own. And the Irish call him Jack of the Lantern, which became Jack-o'-lantern. That's weird, right? And it's the
Yeah.
same
Oh,
idea.
that's
Everything you said
crazy.
before is true. It's just that original origin story is one of the stories they tell around it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So he can lead spirits away. He can ward off things, all sorts of things, because he's a go-between, because he's dead, but he's still here.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
Every
Dead
Monday.
but still here.
Let's talk about altar setup. What kinds of things do you want to decorate around your home or use on your altar? So pumpkins, as Kristen mentioned, or if you're feeling emboldened, as Heidi mentioned, turnips and potatoes, fallen leaves, black candles, dark colored crystals. I would say things like smoky quartz, onyx, black tourmaline, like that kind of a dark crystal. Mugwort, bay, cinnamon, rosemary, and garden sage.
Do you know why all of those correspondences, like the correlating theme, were you hearing it?
No?
Well, like So they all hit one or the other. They're all either for clearing spirits or communicating with spirits.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So that's a fun
Did I
one.
bother to zoom out? No. Thank you for being here today, Heidi, and forcing me to look at the bigger picture.
I I didn't even I was just heard it when you were saying them. I was like, oh funny, oh funny, oh funny, oh funny. And then I was like, no,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
making
I
any
mean,
sense.
looking at it now, it's like, yeah, duh. You jerk. Open your dang eyes.
Totally makes sense. Me personally, I do a lot of orange and black falling leaves. They're like my favoriteest thing. Well, one of. So like I will literally like pick those up and be like, ooh, and have them everywhere. And typically they're all oranges and yellows and reds and beautiful. Oftentimes cauldrons and deity statues, if people do deities, photos of ancestors and loved ones, and then mums, chrysanthemums, things like that bloom around that time.
Feel like you guys did a really good job of making suggestions about what you could switch out. But I'll tell you, anything that's a Halloween decoration, you could turn into an altar decoration. I'm huge on going to the dollar store and like repurposing stuff. We had a whole episode about that.
I wanted to kind of touch on like animal effigies because I feel like that honestly gets kind of overlooked. And I'm a big fan of animal effigies. So, a suggestion that I would have is you could put out a crow or an owl, or bears are going to sleep this time of year. So, you could put something out like that, for example. I wouldn't just limit it to deities. I would also work with the animal guides that you have as well, or the aspects that you're trying to channel.
I love that.
Owls are great for this time of year because they're like messengers and like they themselves are go-betweens, aren't they?
Hmm.
Yeah, actually, our local tribe, the Coastal Salish, believe that owls, if you see them in the daytime, are harbingers. Like they tell you that death is coming.
Sweet.
Yeah, isn't it like depending on the color? Like they some crazy
There,
stuff
you know
I've
what?
heard.
Maybe there might be more to it than that. I might be oversimplifying, but that was my very, very, very basic understanding.
Ritual suggestions for Samhain would be having a dumb supper where basically you sit at a table and prepare food for empty seats. And then the thinking is you're offering food to these spaces that ancestors and spirits will be able to partake in the meal and feel appreciated and celebrated on this day. But the important thing is that it's dumb or in silence. So you don't say anything, you eat by candlelight, there's like no electricity, it's very spooky and silent. And the focus is on being thankful and honoring the dead. You can also make offerings to spirits other than food, spells or things like that, drawings, songs. Having an ancestor altar is an option where you, like Kristen was saying, put up photos or have out like a pocket watch or a handkerchief or something like that. A protection bonfire would be a great thing to do, and practice divination.
Excellent rituals that you just listed. And I feel like a lot of those are actually kind of similar to the types of things I like to do at home too, because they're pretty in theme with the holiday. I just heard about one though that I'm excited about that I haven't got to do yet that I feel like would be really fun. Well, part of it I've done, but part of it I haven't. Like part of it is it should be a big bonfire, right? And everybody's had a big bonfire. But the other part was calling it a dress as you were party, and you come as a past iteration of yourself. I thought that would be a really, really fun way to celebrate. And it's very like, now mind you, it's a little kitschy, right? Like it's a little silly, but I sometimes it can be fun to make it silly too. I felt like your rituals were very good and serious as the nature of the holiday. And then why not like one kind of fun, silly thing?
What would you wear if you don't know a past life?
What you want one to be. That's what I would
What I
do right
want it
away.
to be?
Oh yeah, come as like Cleopatra. Fuck, man.
My ritual suggestions are definitely divination. Divination's like this is a wonderful time to be able to do it. If you are struggling and you're not quite sure if you're making that, this is the time to try because it's going to be a little easier with the veil being lifted, with that communication being open. Typically, if I'm going to do divination, I try to do things that like aren't my norm. So I usually do like mirror scrying and meditation like that. Sometimes I do really simple things and I'd say go with the flow and do what your energy allows you. I'm super big about leaving liquor out. It's always been a really simple way to like leave that for my ancestors. Like, here's a shot of rum or whatever it was that they liked, and then that just kind of sits and hangs out for them a bit.
Spell work ideas and focus. I think a great thing to focus your spell work on for Samhain would be protection, obviously, because you're getting ready to deal with spirits and different entities through divination. You want to have some sort of a good shield up. But I also think personally, reflection and cleansing, like leaving things behind in the previous year. If you're seeing it as this is the end of the year and winter is the beginning, like ancestrally we did, this would be a great time for you to just kind of like figure out what you'd like to purge and leave in fall.
My biggest thing saying this is always, always, always be respectful, no matter whether you're doing it, doing things in your home or going out to do things, but going to the graveyard, that's a really fun thing for like if I ever get a chance to do it on Samhain, like it's insane.
We should
So
go this
going
year.
to
We should go
let's
this
do
year.
it. Oh
Yeah,
my God, yeah, I haven't done it in years and
I
yeah,
know a spot.
super excited.
I'll
I
be
know a
taking
graveyard.
small children trick-or-treating. Take lots of pictures of the graveyard for me.
Maybe you can be there in spirit. Ah.
Oh!
But yeah, you could go to the graveyard, you can do anything from cleaning a gravestone or talking to, spirits that remain or thanking them for their past, ventures. There's so much that you can do and it's fun, kind of creepy. Like, we like creepy. Creepy's great. If you can do a big giant fire out like a bonfire, cool. If you can do one little candle and that, that's what you do, great. Like fire. But I mean, this is the time when things are getting cold and when, we want the warmth. We want to have the warmth going into the season. And then we also want, if you're doing any kind of like ancestral spiritual things, you want to be able to have them see where they need to go. Their flashlight in the dark.
This time of year, I tend to do, some of the stuff you guys were talking about for sure, like protection, family stuff. But I found that one of the things I tend to come back to again in this time of year is when I'm working with my ancestors, I'm almost always looking for guidance. So I'll do things generally surrounding what I should be manifesting. Like, what should I be trying to go for? I think now is a really good time to sort of divine that information if that's something that you're not sure of or something you need confirmation of. Allyson was saying for protection, this tends to be a good time to petition. So if you want to petition any entities to work with you as protection or work with new deities, that kind of thing, this is a good time of year to enter those relationships. And kind of preparation work you need to do. So like if you have spells that take prep work before you can prepare or do the spell, this is a good time of year for that kind of stuff. So that sounds a little strange. But for instance, sometimes spell work will call for you to have components that have been, put under a certain moon. So that can take a long time. If you're waiting for the wolf moon and it's, March, you're going to be waiting a minute. Now, obviously, if it's moon specific, you're going to have to only be able to do the one. But I just mean there are different kinds of ways you can prepare things in advance.
Crafting ideas, things that we can make. I think a great thing to make for Samhain in an individual practice or in a group setting would be witches spells. Things that so basically there's like little wicker wreaths or little metal wreaths that fit around doorknobs or door handles that you can purchase from the craft store. And then you get whatever bells and charms like strike your fancy and then string them all up however you see fits. And then whenever you open your door, they're going to jingle and do energy cleansing for people who go in and out. So you want them to be probably on your main door that you use, which isn't necessarily your front door.
Samhain simmer pot would be real easy. They smell good. Again, really affordable. We're always talking about our closet girls, right? Our witchies who are still living in the broom shed. They could do a simmer pot and not really draw too much attention to themselves, right? The other one that I really like to do is I tend to make like little bundles that I call like scry offerings. So like a little bundle of herbs or flowers or some type of, Samhain appropriate correspondence that you would then dedicate to whatever you want to divine or to a certain deity if you want to do an offering, and then throw it in your fire and scry.
I don't know. Some people may not think like this as a crafting idea, but I do. Cooking, cooking and baking. So around this time of year, I really like doing crafty eats, I guess. Like you can make little bones out of, peanut butter and white chocolate. If you want to get down to like what you're putting into it, a lot of times around this time of year, gouache soups, doing all sorts of different kind of cookies and treats and pies and things. And it's also kind of comes back to not just feeding yourself, but feeding your ancestors, having those as offerings, and also your family and friends.
We've been traveling together down a dark path. Now it's time to take a break and listen to some of our sponsors. A Dark Path will return after these messages.
Light the way on your dark path with Wise Wolf Craft's unique selection of tools for living with intention. From manifestation kits to altar items and divination tools, we have everything you need to connect with your inner wisdom. Wise Wolf Craft offers Reiki and other energy healing sessions, divination readings, and a variety of classes on topics like intuitive tarot and personalized spell work. Unleash the power within. Visit Wise Wolf Craft today online at wisewolfcraft.com and on Facebook and Instagram as @WiseWolfCraft. Wise Wolfcraft, tools for living with intention. Needing guidance on your dark path? Explore the mysterious world of Jupiter's Omens, offering handmade rituals, spells, and tools to focus your intention during spell work, vintage altar tools and decor, and intuitive tarot sessions utilizing claircognizance. Visit Jupiter's Omens, where the mystical and macabre meet, at jupitersomens.square.site. That's jupitersomens.square.site.
This year for me, like it's been pretty, I've been pretty low key for a long time. And this year I'm kind of feeling the need to do it bigger, bigger and better. I have a decent sized backyard and I want to make a fire pit, right? And I want to make my husband go outside with me and sing and dance around this fire pit till it goes out and then run back inside and whoever's the last one in, we know, will be devoured by a black sow. And that sounds like fun to me.
Yes, it sounds like fun to sacrifice my friends.
I've done like some versions of a dumb supper, but I really want to go like all out. Like we're talking black candles, like tablecloth, and have it be a thing. Would love to have friends there if my friends want to come.
I don't want to come because I'm going to be the last person. I'm going to get devoured and then
Oh,
I'm
at the
not going to
bonfire.
get dinner.
I haven't really done mirror scrying personally. My bathroom mirror is like one of those seamless, like edge to edge giant ones. And I feel it's so intimidating with the lights off, but I really kind of want to like sit and do mirror scrying in my giant ass bathroom mirror. Those are my plans for Samhain.
Aren't you afraid that Bloody Mary will get you?
I learned about Bloody Mary in middle school, dude, and she freaked the shit out of me. Is that
Good
what,
of us all.
right?
You
But like,
have to say her name. I mean, you just staring into a mirror isn't going to do it,
yeah,
right?
she's not
You
gonna
have to
get
actually,
me. You have to say her name 3 times like Beetlejuice, you know?
You're brave. So I'm a witchy with children, so I'll be doing very many highly like child influenced events. So we'll be doing some trick or treating. We'll be doing some pumpkin carving. We definitely will have a bonfire. And I don't know, we do lots of little things throughout the year. So I think actually, funnily, even in craft, like with all holidays, kids really keep you busy, you know. So like if there is a craft, like we make ornaments out of oranges, we string oranges, we like I mean, it's redonk. We actually started our hallway of horror in July.
What does this mean? It basically like you walk through the hallway of horror?
This is our campsite, mind you. So we've created a hallway. It's like a path and hung all the stuff in this path. So it's a spooky path, but we call it the hallway of horror. So there's tombstones and Barbie heads and spiders. And it's like basically every Halloween or Samhain craft project you could imagine in the hallway.
I
So
love that.
yeah, lots of costumes. We are big dresser uppers in the house. We'll probably dress up every day in October.
Kristen, how about you?
Devil's Night. So October 30th, we're going to watch The Crow. We do that every year. Devil's Night was coined that, I believe, was like the 70s because that's when there was like a huge uptick in like crime and arson and a whole bunch of stuff anyways, there's a part in the movie and the whole thing's centered around Devil's Night, so I don't want to ruin it if people haven't seen it, but if you have seen The Crow, you get it. I would love to have like a seance, like get together,
Dude, come to
candles.
my house. Oh my God, let's do it.
I would
I
love
saw
that. I think
that.
that'd be
It's
so much
really
fun.
fucked up that two bitches are going to do a seance without me, but I'll be fine.
I mean,
You
we
bring
could
the
schedule it
treat.
another day.
No, you really can't. You really need to do it then.
Well,
But
depending, it's like what, the 31st through the 5th? So we
Yeah,
got some time.
we could come to
okay.
your house late at night.
We'll just wait until the kids are
Oh
all
no.
asleep after trick-or-treating. I love dressing up, so if I do get a chance to dress up, I'm like, forget. I think last year I was a fortune teller because I didn't have it was like last minute and I was like, throw on a bunch of scarves and grab my tarot deck. Let's go. And that was my last year's one.
All-time favorite costumes? Anybody have an all-time favorite?
I had this really awesome shirt that was my mom's, and she was pretty well a hippie, a raging hippie, during that time period. And so I went for as my mom one year. I like wore that shirt with like bell bottoms and stuff. And like we looked like similarly enough that like I looked like her, but with like brown hair. It was really, really cute. I was my mom one year for Halloween.
That's awesome.
Absolutely love that.
It's it's hard for me to decide. I would either have to say the year that I was Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, because that was super fun. Either that or when I was Pam from Archer.
I was Pam from Archer one year. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
that
That
was
is
great.
too wild. I was very proud of one, like totally noteworthy because I was pregnant and I had to go to a party last minute and didn't have any ideas. And then pieced together pregnant Scully from like season, I don't want to say 4 or 5 of the X-Files. It's pretty sweet.
Dang. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Let's talk about favorite scary movies. Mine is okay. I really like The Village. I don't know if that's
Oh.
necessarily scary though, and The Exorcism of Emily
Thriller.
Rose. I really like those.
Okay, interesting.
Exorcism of Emily Rose freaked the shit out of me.
I have two off the head, like off the head. One is Scream. I always watch Scream, the first Scream this time of year. That's a hands down campy favorite. And then I also really like only movie I ever had to turn off because I was so scared watching it was 13 Ghosts. That movie
Love
scared the
that
fuck out
movie.
of me. And I don't know. And it's so funny because watching it now, it's like kind of scary. Not, but anyway.
Cabin in the Woods. Love that movie. I'm not sure if anybody's seen it, but it's a horror movie, but it's also like making fun of all the like tropes and all of the like these people die first or it's super great.
Listening to you talk, I'm not a big horror movie person, because I have PTSD, so like that emotion is very triggering for me, right? But there's a few that I've watched, obviously. I can't remember the name of it. It's the Stephen King movie with Johnny Depp, and his wife cheats on him, and he kills them, and he turns
Secret
them.
Garden, Secret Window.
See the
Or
writer?
It's called Secret
Yeah.
Garden. Secret Garden.
I freaking loved that. I loved everything about that movie. It was so good.
It's
Um,
it's an excellent book too.
Thank you to our listeners for coming along this journey with us today. And Heidi, thank you so much for joining us on this episode.
Oh, thank you for having me. Love to be here.
We are always looking to connect. So if you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, any questions, or you just want to get to know us, please email us at adarkpathpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that is adarkpathpodcast@gmail.com. As always, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at A Dark Path Podcast. Thank you so much for listening and joining us on this journey. I just wanted to say to Halloween Town and joining us on this journey down a dark path.
Halloween
Halloween
Town.
Town.
Have you ever seen Halloween Town, Heidi? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Halloween Town. There's a
There's not,
second one.
yeah, I saw that, unfortunately. Did you see the second Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, I thought the girls at the beginning were actually really cute.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that were really cute, and then like the ending I thought was kind of disappointing. Otherwise,
I only watched it one time, so I feel like that kind of speaks to it.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
But I, like I said, I did think they did a fun job with the casting at the beginning, particularly the girl who did Bette Midler. She was really funny.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kristen?
I thought it was really cute. I thought that, the little girls were adorable. I'm very nostalgic for the old ones, so I miss some of like that.
One of the things that I felt like was a miss was the musical number. I felt like
Mhm.
they needed, like, for one thing, I felt like this looks a little bit too much like old ladies, like, because those women are not that old. Like, they needed to either, like, make them dance more or, like, something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it felt a little bit too much, like, toned down for geriatrics. And I was like, they're not that old. Let them dance. Like, they can move. It's fine. But there were some solid jokes.
I didn't like the mayor or like any of the sequence at the festival. I didn't
Yeah.
like that stuff. But the rest of it I thought was pretty good.
I felt like that outdoor sequence was supposed to feel kind of like the sequence from the dance, how they kept going back to the dance in the first one,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hit the same.
No.
No.
Thanks, guys. That was some
But
expert level film connoisseur shit for Hocus Pocus 2. How that wasn't recorded and put into the podcast, I'll never know.
It is now that our time together must come to an end. Thank you for joining us on this journey, a dark path come to a bend. Find us here bi-monthly on your favorite place to stream, and follow us on social media for news in between. A dark path is there, winding and waiting ever. May you craft peace, knowledge, and alignment, so shall it be, or something better.